So in this YouTube video, I'm walking you through how to actually go ahead and set up a Facebook ad campaign. And that is your very first Facebook ad campaign as a property professional. As in this video, we're going to be going through how to actually set up a Facebook vendor ad campaign. And that's an ad that's going to be generating you valuation appointments so that you can actually go ahead and close them and get mandates from them. So if you find this video essentially helpful, go ahead, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, because on this YouTube channel we focus mainly on content to actually help out real estate professionals essentially remove themselves from all the tedious tasks that are involved as a real estate agent's day-to-day career. That's just through automation, delegation, and also marketing. So that's what this YouTube channel is about. We upload YouTube videos every single week, at the very least once a week, and let's get into it. So in this video, we are talking about creating your first Facebook ad campaign within the Facebook ad manager, or Meta as they like to call themselves nowadays, as a real estate agent for real estate agents. Let's jump into it. Let's just jump into it, right? Which is really what we want to jump into. So first things first is what you're going to be needing is just three things. Is the fact that we'll be going just live with a one vendor, which is basically a seller campaign, one ad set, and one ad. And you only want to create new ads or turn new ads on after your first batch has been reviewed and allowed or verified by Facebook. As having multiple, for example, let's say this first batch gets declined by Facebook's support, and then the second batch also gets declined, and the third batch as well, because you try to switch on 3 ads at a time on your first go, then most likely there's a chance that your ad account will get banned, because every time an ad gets declined by Facebook or by Meta, it hurts your business accounts score, your ad account score specifically, but also your business account score as well. So that's why I just simply advise that you just start off with one batch, which is one campaign, one ad set, and one ad. So how do you actually get things started off? If you want to go to business.facebook.com/settings, you will find the link in the description for all the nitty-gritty sections I'm talking about in the link below. So what you also need to know is, if you don't have a Facebook business account, then you can just simply go to business.facebook.com instead and actually create an account, and then go through the same process as we're going through right now. So first things first is you need to set up your ad account and actually set up your Facebook page if you don't have one. And both of these things, you'll be able to do them straight from here, the business.facebook.com/settings. And that's simply setting up your ad account and then connecting your card, your credit card or debit card information into that ad account, and also setting up your Facebook page where the ads will be hosted, as well as any sort of social media post that you want to do will be done through that Facebook page. And once that's set up, you just go to the ads manager so we can actually get the ball rolling, right? So there's a link right there, ads manager /manage/campaigns, and it'll bring you right here, right? So some things to have ready beforehand. So before you go through the process of creating your ad, you want to make sure you have these things set up, which is your creative. Now your creative is essentially the image or the video that you want to add into the ad. So you can either add image like this, like a property image collage, or you can add a video, like a house tour, for example, of the home, as your ad creative. The proven ad copy, for example, this right here is a proven ad copy. You can, customize it, tweak it however you want it to be tweaked. And then next up is the most important part, the target area, right? And the target area is essentially your service area, which is where do you want to generate your mandates from, or where do you want to generate your listings, or where do you want to generate these valuation appointments. And that goes hand in hand with your creative. And what I mean is, for example, I'm gonna use cities in my country, but you can't take a suburban area images, like property images of a suburban area, and run an ad using those properties images, like those property images, in a rural area, right? In a village, for example, because, well, everybody in that village knows that ain't no way you're gonna find a house like that in their area, right? So it's always important that when running ads, for example, when running ads in Port Elizabeth, you want to make sure that you're using as your ad image properties that are inside of or within Port Elizabeth, right? And same goes for any other city as well. And another thing is to make sure you have access to every Facebook and Instagram page you've made, so that you're making sure they're connected to the ad account and they are working. And the reason why that is it's better to get all your ducks in line before you start going ahead, because if you create an ad, for example, if you're in the process of creating an ad and you want to write an IG account and you find out that you are unable to do so because you haven't set up your Instagram business page properly, it'll be incredibly frustrating, the back and forth you'd have to go through. So once you have all 1, 2, 3, 4 of these things, you can go ahead and move on to the next step. And the next step is actually creating a campaign, right? Where you can essentially choose if either you're going to use conversion campaign, if you'll be sending the leads through a funnel. And I'll jump into another video going through a real estate funnel, such as a funnel for actually generating vendors, and also a funnel for generating purchases as well. And there's also that lead generation aspect where, if you plan on using the Facebook lead form, then you'd pick lead generation. And that's the example we're going to be going through in this specific video. But in the later videos where I do go over, different real estate funnels, you might be watching this video like 6 months later, 12 months later, 3 years later. And if that is the case, then I most probably already have those videos up on my YouTube channel, and you most likely would also be able to find them in the description below. So go ahead and check those out. But continuing on. So the first step is actually creating our first campaign. Step one is after choosing lead gen, so after choosing that lead generation conversion, you want to go ahead and name your campaign. For this example right here, we named it Boreas /seller /BK Media. So Boreas is something quite interesting I learned from a mentor of mine. Boreas is a Greek god, mythological god of ice, or god of cold, really. And since these are ads that are being run to a cold audience, so an audience that hasn't met or talked to you yet, we call them Boreas. And seller, to state what type of lead we're generating a seller lead. BK Media, well, for you wouldn't put BK Media in there, but we put BK Media in there so that we can tell the difference between campaigns that we created and campaigns that our clients created, because sometimes we're running ads and our clients are also running ads as well, like their own ads on the side. So for you, you just have it as Boreas/seller, right? As we're going to run cold ads to sellers. And another very important part is special ad category. You want to make sure you have this special ad category turned on as housing. Very, very, very important. Now, after doing that, you want to go next to step number 2. And step number 2 is just to name the ad set with the name of the location and the interest you're going to test. So the name of location is Port Elizabeth / men / demographics, their age, right? So if you're targeting women between the ages of like 25 to 64, then it'd be like woman / 25 to 64, whatever it may be. Or if you were targeting both genders, it would be all / 21 to 64 if that was the age range you were going for. So step number 3 is you want to go ahead, you want to select the instant form. Right, instant form, because we're creating a delete form. You want to go ahead and pick that. Step number 4, we're burning through this. Step number 4 is now we're picking the location. So you're just selecting your area by actually going ahead, searching the location, typing in your city, and you want to make sure it's set to people living in this location. So this part right here, very, 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 very important as well. This is to make sure they're only showing ads, or they're only showing this ad to people who live in that location. Step number 5, you want to add obvious targeting. As I think I already stated this earlier, but you know, add obvious targeting, because a 19 or a 21-year-old, they're very unlikely to own a home to sell. So you want to just target the higher ages of men and women. And step number 6 is to just tweak the location and the age of the gender you are targeting. As the ideal audience size is around, I'd say 90,000 to 200,000 is the size you're normally looking to actually hit before you even consider switching on the ads. Step number 7. Oh my, I just realized. Step number 7 is you want to make sure we're only using the Facebook news feed. So in terms of placements, you want to click manual placements, unselect everything, and only have Facebook news feed selected, as this has performed the best with Facebook leads form, and that's just what we've seen on our side. Step number 8 is essentially talking about the budget, the daily budget. Is I've seen people with budget where they're like, hey, I want to run ads for 3 days, and then they set, instead of having a daily budget, they set like a timeline budget, and they set an end date as well, and then that ad performs incredibly well, and then it turns off. And the thing is, as soon as an ad turns off, its performance drops. So you want to make sure that that never happens by actually having it set so that never happens. And what you want to, how I realize I'm ranting. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have it set as a daily budget instead of having it set as a timeline by setting an end date. And that's just by having a daily budget, right? And the daily budget I would recommend is, anything above 20, right? You want to never go below $15, right? Because the truth is, it just doesn't make sense if you give enough money to, Facebook or Meta to do their own thing. They make it work because they understand that the more they get great results for you, the more you want to invest. I mean, step number 9 is actually creating that lead form, right? So you want to go ahead, go to instant form, and then click create a form and actually create a form. And step number 10 is to add a compelling greeting, right? So right here is an example of a greeting that we use that you can use yourself, to each their own. There we go. Step number 11 is, add questions you feel you would consider, questions you consider that if were answered, you'd be like, yeah, that's a qualified lead. That's a quality lead, right? Because there's a difference between a MQL and an SQL, right? An MQL is a marketing qualified lead, and an SQL is a sales qualified lead. And now these instant forms aren't going to generate you SQLs, right? Sales qualified leads, only talking to that person on the phone can do that for you, or in person. But instant forms can give you a marketing qualified lead, which is asking questions like, hey, what's your home address? What area are you in? Why are you looking to sell your home? When are you looking to sell your home? How many beds, baths does your home have? What's the time frame? Like, how soon are you looking to sell your home? How much do you think you could sell your home for? Like, these are just random questions I'm asking you, which to you could have heard 2 or 3 of those questions, and you're like, Bongi, if this person answered just 3 of those questions, they're an incredibly solid lead. And if that's the case, then awesome. You understand just how powerful asking questions are. But you also need to understand, let's say you didn't ask any questions at all, and you just asked for this right here. Well, you'd probably get I nearly said 1,000, which you possibly could, but you'd probably get like 100 leads within a week. But if you had asked like 3 or 4 questions instead of 100 leads within 7 days, you would have gotten like 3 leads within 7 days, which sounds like, that's like, what? I could have said, would I rather have 3 leads or like 100 leads? But these 3 leads are, maybe one of them is, kicking, is like a tire kicker, but the other 2 could very well much turn into in-person valuation, which if you have good numbers, you can either turn both into mandates or at least one of them into a mandate. So adding questions is very important. And these must be questions that you feel, if were answered, would generate you qualified leads, not just some random questions you want to throw there to suit yourself, essentially your own ego. These must be, if you feel like having this question answered is mundane, then don't bother adding it in there. Step 12 is to just make sure you get all their important information, which is their first name, last name, email, and phone number. And last thing is to just turn your ad on by going ahead and clicking publish. Now all you have to do is just literally wait for Facebook or Meta to review your ad and then send you a message or email and tell you, hey, your ad is now published. So to just give you a bit about what the ad timeline looks like is, on the first day, you publish the ads. Between day 1 and 2, Facebook reviews the ads, and on day 2, most likely, your Facebook turns your ads live, and people within your service area actually start seeing your ads. And only after 72 hours do you go back onto Facebook and tweak your ads. Only after 72 hours. I see people, their ads were turned live an hour ago and they're staring at their screen hoping a lead will come in. But the truth is, you just got to give it like 72 hours. If you're really impatient, give it 48 hours, right? Just to see what happens and what's coming in. So if you found this video valuable and you enjoyed it, go ahead, hit the subscribe button that should be right underneath me. And the video that's right next to me, I went ahead and I handpicked that for you because I feel it's just a great segue to diving deeper from this video that you just watched. So I will check you on that next video. Cheers.